You invite them in because innocent people invite detectives in. That's your first mistake. The conversation lasts 40 minutes. They ask about your relationship with the victim, where you were that night, whether anyone can verify your timeline. You answer everything honestly because you have nothing to hide. They take notes, they thank you for your time, they leave, you go to work, you eat lunch, you come home. Everything feels normal except for a vibration in the back of your skull that won't stop. Something about the way the second detective looked at you when you described your evening. Not suspicion exactly, interest. The kind of look a fisherman gives a spot on the water where something just moved beneath the surface. 3 days later, your neighbor Marcus mentions that 2 men in suits asked about you. Nothing serious, he says. Just questions about your schedule, your habits, whether you have visitors. Marcus thought it was weird, but didn't want to bother you with it. He tells you over the fence while watering his garden, casual, like it's neighborhood gossip. You laugh it off, but your stomach drops. You Google the victim's name that night. Local news has a short article. Homicide. Investigation ongoing. No suspects named. You read it 3 times and tell yourself you're not involved, so there's nothing to worry about. But you notice your hands are shaking when you close the laptop. The detectives come back a week later. Same polite tone, different questions. They want to know about your phone, whether you'd be willing to share your location data from that night. You ask if you need a lawyer. They say that's your right, but it might look like you have something to hide. You give them the phone data because you're still playing the innocent person game. They leave with a copy of your digital movements plotted on a timeline. 2 days after that, you find out you've been placed on administrative leave from work. HR says it's precautionary, related to a law enforcement inquiry. Nobody will tell you exactly what was said, but the way your coworkers look at you when you clean out your desk tells you everything. The investigation hasn't charged you with anything. It doesn't need to. The suspicion alone is already destroying your life. Level 2. Suspect. The warrant arrives on a Tuesday, not for your arrest, for your DNA. A detective serves it at your apartment with a court order requiring you to submit a buccal swab. The process takes 30 seconds. They rub the inside of your cheek with a cotton stick, seal it in an evidence bag, and leave. You stand in your kitchen holding the copy of the warrant and realize the word suspect now lives next to your name in a file somewhere. Marcus comes over that evening. He brings beer and doesn't ask questions, which is exactly what you need. You sit on your porch and drink in silence for an hour. Then he says something that catches you off guard. He says, whatever happens, he knows who you are. He's lived next door to you for 4 years. He's seen how you treat people. He doesn't need a court to tell him what he already knows. It's the kindest thing anyone said to you in weeks. You almost tell him everything. How the timeline is wrong. How the evidence they're building is circumstantial but convincing if you look at it from the right angle. How you were in the wrong place at the wrong time, and now the machinery of justice is grinding towards you with no brake pedal. But you don't tell him because telling him makes him a witness, and you're not going to drag Marcus into this. Your lawyer calls the next morning. She's reviewed the case file through discovery, and the news isn't good. The victim was found in a location 3 blocks from your apartment. Your phone data puts you in the area that night. Security camera footage shows someone matching your general description walking toward the scene 20 minutes before the estimated time of death. It's not proof, but it's a story that a prosecutor can tell, and stories are what convictions are made of. The media picks it up, not national yet, local. Your name isn't published, but the details are specific enough that anyone who knows you can connect the dots. Your mother calls. She's seen the news. She's crying. You tell her it's a misunderstanding. She wants to believe you. You can hear in her voice that she's trying. Your bank account starts bleeding. Legal fees, lost wages. The apartment lease your landlord suddenly wants to terminate. The world is designed for people who aren't suspects. The moment that label attaches to you, the infrastructure of normal life starts rejecting you like a bad transplant. Level 3. The warrant. The arrest warrant comes 6 weeks after the first knock. You're not home when they issue it. You're at your lawyer's office reviewing the case when she gets a call. Her face tells you before her words do. A state judge has signed off on a warrant for your arrest. First-degree murder. Your lawyer tells you to turn yourself in. It's the smart play, controlled, dignified. You walk into the county building with your attorney by your side. They process you. Fingerprints, photographs. The booking officer has done this 1,000 times and handles you with the same mechanical efficiency he'd use to file paperwork. You're a number now. A case file with a barcode. Bail is set at $500,000. Your family scrapes together everything. Your mother mortgages her house. Your sister empties her savings. Marcus offers $3,000 he's been saving for a fishing boat. You tell him absolutely not. He puts the envelope on your lawyer's desk and walks out without arguing. You make bail. You go home. The ankle monitor is heavy and ugly and beeps when you get too close to the property line. Your world has shrunk to the dimensions of your apartment and the radius the court allows. You're technically free, but freedom with a monitor and a murder charge is just prison with better furniture. The trial is set for 4 months from now. The system that's supposed to find the truth is building a lie, and you're going to spend the rest of your life in prison for something you didn't do. You cut the monitor at 4:17 a.m. You have approximately 8 minutes before the signal loss triggers an alert, 12 minutes before a patrol car is dispatched to your address, maybe 20 before the U.S. Marshals are notified. You drive south, not because you have a plan, because south is a direction and sitting still means surrender. Your phone is off and in a dumpster 3 blocks from your apartment. You're using cash you withdrew over the past week in small increments. $400. It's nothing. It's everything. By dawn, the marshals have your name. By noon, your face is on every law enforcement database in the country. The Fugitive Task Force assigns your case to a team that does this for a living. 297 fugitives a day. Every day. You're not special to them. Your Tuesday's workload. You ditch the car at a bus station in Virginia. You buy a ticket with cash to a city you've never visited. On the bus, you sit in the back and don't make eye contact with anyone. Every person who glances at you becomes a potential threat. Every police car in the opposite lane sends your heart into overdrive. You're learning what fugitives learn fast. The world is made of cameras, databases, and people who watch the news. Marcus finds out you ran when the marshals knock on his door. They ask when he last saw you, what you talked about, whether he knows where you might go. Marcus tells them the truth. He doesn't know. They search his house anyway. They find nothing because there's nothing to find. But they keep his name in the file because associates of fugitives are leverage, and leverage is how manhunts end. Level 5, the hunt. The U.S. Marshals. Fugitive Task Force is not what you imagined. There's no dramatic war room with your photo on a wall. It's methodical, clinical. They start with your digital footprint. Every credit card transaction, every phone call from the last year, every email, text, and social media interaction. They build a map of your life and look for patterns that predict where you'll go when you're desperate. They talk to everyone. Your barber, your coworker, your ex-girlfriend from 6 years ago. They visit your mother twice. She tells them nothing because she has nothing to tell. They visit Marcus 3 times. Each visit is longer than the last. They know he's your closest friend. They know about the $3,000. They ask if he helped you run. He says no. They don't believe him, but they can't prove otherwise. On the 3rd visit, they tell him they're considering charges. Aiding and abetting a fugitive. Obstruction of justice. They lay it out on his kitchen table like it's already decided. Marcus looks at them and says he doesn't know where you are, which is the truth, and that he wouldn't tell them if he did, which is also the truth. They leave the paperwork on his table as a reminder. Week 2, your face appears on the news. National this time. The mugshot from your booking. You're watching it on a television in a motel lobby in Tennessee. The anchor describes you as armed and dangerous, which is a lie. You don't own a gun. You've never owned a gun. But armed and dangerous justifies a different level of response. It means the people looking for you have been told to expect violence. You change your appearance, buzz your hair, grow stubble that makes you look 10 years older. You buy clothes from thrift stores that don't match anything you've ever worn. You learn to walk differently, slower, shoulders forward instead of back. Small changes that break the pattern recognition people use unconsciously. You survive on day labor, cash jobs at farms, warehouses, construction sites that don't check ID. You eat gas station food and sleep in places that take cash. The money runs out constantly. $400 becomes $200, becomes $50, becomes panic. Week 6, you're in a small town in Mississippi, working at a feed store for a man who doesn't ask questions and pays $30 a day. You rent a room above a garage from an old woman who thinks your name is James. You've been running for 42 days. Every morning you check the news to see if they've caught the real killer. Every morning, nothing. The marshals haven't stopped. They've escalated. Your case has been flagged for the regional task force. They're running financial traces on everyone you've ever known. They've pulled your mother's phone records. They've put a surveillance team on Marcus because the algorithm says close male friends are the most likely point of contact for male fugitives. Marcus knows he's being watched. He mentions it to nobody because Marcus understands what's happening. He goes to work. He waters his garden. He lives his life with the quiet discipline of a man who knows that his normal routine is the best thing he can do for his friend right now. The threat of charges hangs over him like weather he can't control. His lawyer tells him to cut all ties. Marcus fires his lawyer. Level 6. The end. Day 73. You're sitting in a diner in a town whose name you've already forgotten, eating scrambled eggs with coffee when you see your face on the television above the counter. But it's not the Manhunt story. It's a breaking news alert. A man has been arrested in connection with the murder you're accused of. DNA evidence from a secondary analysis matched another individual. a man with a prior record who lived in the same building where the victim was found. Your hair at the scene, a strand from a shared laundry room, picked up on the real killer's jacket, carried into the victim's apartment like a ghost, following someone else's crime, a comb left on a folding table, a strand on a dryer door, the most ordinary thing in the world, turned into the evidence that almost buried you. You set your fork down, the eggs go cold. The waitress asks if you want more coffee. You don't answer because you can't speak. The words on the screen say what you've known for 73 days. You didn't do it. Someone else did. And now they've caught him. But here's what the screen doesn't say. You're still a fugitive. You cut an ankle monitor. You fled jurisdiction. You've been living under a false name for 2.5 months. The original murder charge may be dropped, but the flight charges won't be. Running from justice is its own crime, even if the justice you ran from was wrong. You call your lawyer from a payphone. She already knows. She's been trying to reach you for 3 hours. She says, come back, turn yourself in. The murder charge is dead. The flight charges are manageable. She can argue duress, wrongful prosecution, extenuating circumstances. She thinks you'll get 2 years maximum, probably less with time served. You call Marcus. First time you've contacted anyone from your old life in 73 days. He picks up on the first ring like he's been waiting. He doesn't say hello, he just says your name. Your real name. The one nobody's used in 2.5 months. The sound of it in his voice breaks something loose in your chest that's been locked tight since the night you cut the monitor. You tell him it's over. He says he knows. He saw the news. He asks where you are. You tell him. He says he'll come get you. You tell him no. You need to do this part yourself. He goes quiet. Then he says something you'll remember for the rest of your life. He says he never doubted you. Not once. Not when the detectives asked. Not when the marshals searched his house. Not when they threatened him with charges. Not when the news called you armed and dangerous. He says he knew because he knows you, and knowing someone is worth more than whatever story the evidence tells. You hang up, you drive north, toward home, toward the system that failed you and the consequences of running from it. The highway stretches out flat and endless in both directions. You're not running anymore. You're heading towards something instead of away from it. The marshals are waiting at the county building. They process you again. Same fingerprints, same photographs, different charges. Your lawyer is there. Your mother is there. Marcus is there, sitting in the lobby with the same quiet patience he had the night he brought beer to your porch and didn't ask questions. The flight charges take 11 months to resolve. You plead guilty to failure to appear and interstate flight. The judge considers the circumstances, wrongful accusation, planted evidence, a system that failed at every level before you failed it back. He sentences you to 14 months. Time served counts. You'll be out in 3. It's not justice. Justice would mean none of this ever happened. Justice would mean getting back the job, the apartment, the year of your life that the manhunt consumed. But it's the closest thing to justice the system can produce after it breaks you and then discovers the pieces don't match the crime. Marcus visits every 2 weeks. He brings nothing, says nothing important, just sits across from you and talks about his garden, the tomatoes, the fence that needs fixing, normal things from a normal life that's waiting for you on the other side of this. He doesn't mention the 3 months the marshals spent treating him like a criminal, the lawyer fees he's still paying off, the nights they parked outside his house with the headlights on. He gave 3 months of his life to your innocence, and he'd never call it sacrifice because Marcus doesn't think in that language. But you do. And the guilt of what your run cost him sits heavier than anything the state ever put on your shoulders. You get out on a Wednesday. Marcus picks you up. He drives you home. Your apartment is gone, but his spare room isn't. You sleep in a real bed for the first time in months. Through the wall, you can hear Marcus watching television. The sound of someone else existing nearby is the most comforting thing you've felt since the first knock on your door. The next morning, Marcus is watering his garden when you come outside. He hands you the hose without looking up. You water plants in silence because silence between friends isn't empty. It's full of everything that doesn't need to be said. You're free. Actually free. No monitor, no charges, no case file with your name on it. Just a man standing in a garden next to the only person who never stopped believing him. A man who lost his job, his apartment, a year of his life, and 3 months of his best friend's peace to a system that was wrong from the first knock.